Welcome to Dating in the City, where we discuss the hot relationship-related stories happening in pop culture today
and how to apply them to you in real life.
I'm Alessandra Conti.
And I'm Christina Conti-Pineda.
And we are sisters and celebrity matchmakers here in Los Angeles. And welcome, you guys. It's great to be here. Once again, it's great to treat. It's a treat. It's a treat.
Yes.
We hope that you are all self-quarantining, social distancing.
My face is a look of horror.
I know. It's a lot.
I saw people.
It's a lot.
I saw people just sitting on the street with just in bathing suits.
Oh, really?
Because it's such a beautiful day, and they're so fed up with this whole situation. But we are very blessed because we get to talk to you every week.
Yes,
and
we do.
Get to interact with you.
And we get to interact with each other.
Yeah,
my gosh,
that's
we are
definitely
super #blessed.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes over others.
So, wait, excuse me?
Sometimes better than others.
I'm so sorry. What was that? Sister. You guys, we're sisters. You know, at the end of the day, we are sisters. We may have worked together for the past almost 9 years. Right. And we may be the co-founders of a wonderful matchmaking firm. But at the end of the day, we are sisters, you know? So let's dive right into the different stories that we have. It's funny because I think that last week almost more happened in the media. This week it was a bit of a slower news week because I think that people are really hunkering into the whole quarantine life.
Right. Right. Well, there also were the CMAs virtual last week, too. We didn't talk about that.
The CMAs were virtual?
Yeah, I think so. I saw an ad on CBS.
Really?
This was not Easter Sunday. This was the Sunday before.
Wait,
that's what
really?
I think it was.
I did not know.
Or they had some kind of all-American country.
Okay, this is not a news source.
No.
So please, if you're getting your news from here, maybe look elsewhere. Even though the news nowadays, where does one even go for the news? I don't even know. But anyway, we did actually. There were a few stories that happened that I think were really interesting and actually are very applicable to everyday life. Mm-hmm. So in our segment, we can't help but wonder. We debate relationship-related stories happening this week and what you can learn from them. So Love is Blind. Christina, you've heard me talk about this show a lot because I think it's so... You haven't even seen it, Christina. Don't knock it until you try it. Just like with Tiger King. You roll your eyes
You've
at
already
Tiger
told
King.
me enough that makes me not want to.
I'm sorry. You roll your eyes, but I know you'd be a Joe Exotic fan at the end of the day. But anyway, Love is Blind star Carlton Warren has been posting about his ex Diamond on social media, begging for her to unblock him. So basically, the quick synopsis of the scenario, is that Carlton and Diamond were a couple that ended up getting engaged on Love is Blind, and they then very quickly got unengaged in one of the most prolific scenes that I think reality television has ever experienced.
What do you mean by prolific?
It was phenomenal. So they got engaged in the pods, which was the whole Love is Blind premise that they get engaged in the pods, and then they're swept away.
Like a little pod.
They're sequestered from each other, so they can't see each other.
I see. And they're sitting in pods.
Yeah, they're sitting in pods,
I
so they can't see each other until it's time, until they actually they have to have gotten engaged. Then they see each other, and then they're swept away to Mexico to some exotic resort location. But the whole thing was that Carlton, he went on as a straight man, and he was only dating women in the pods. But it came out that he actually had dated men in the past. And then he, though never revealed this during the pods, so this woman Diamond got engaged to him not knowing that he had dated men in the past. And would have this been a deal breaker for her? We don't know. But he only revealed that to her once they were in Mexico. And the way that he did it, and like the reveal scene was unbelievable. He threw the engagement ring. He was just, honestly, he handled it so horribly, because I think she would have actually been more open-minded to hearing him out. But the way that he did it, he was like, your wig is sliding. Your wig's been sliding since day one. Like, your weave has been sliding into a wig. I don't know, but there's just phenomenal memes that came out of it. It was really horrific. It was a really tense, horrific scene, but of course, we all loved it. So anyway, so basically this huge blow up happened.
He just says the news and then throws out the engagement ring without even waiting to hear what she has to say.
He kind of was like, they were discussing it at that point, and she kind of was like beginning to be like, listen, like, this was definitely something that you should have told me in the pods before we got engaged. Because, like, yeah, before you get engaged to somebody, you should know if they have had a relationship with a person from the same sex.
Exactly.
That's something that I think that everyone would agree with. Yes. I don't think that that's a really bizarre thing to say. But he just flipped out because it was a very sensitive topic, and it was very trigger worthy.
Of course, and I guess he doesn't. I mean, but also, this is perfect for TV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, perfect for reality TV. Like, he's a producer's dream.
Right. And to only reveal it at that point.
Yeah, just at such a point of no return.
Right.
But anyway, there was a point of return.
There could have been, right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I meant of no return in terms of, like, I honestly believe that if he would have just been normal about it and not have been so aggressive and wild about it, she would have been more understanding and been like, listen, I get it. Like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do.
Exactly.
Let's see if we can salvage this relationship. But anyway, so it ended with a bang. It was horrific. Obviously, they broke up. It was really just wow. But anyway, so then the reunion happened, and they ended up meeting again at the reunion, and Carlton just like profusely apologized. And it was really nice. It seems like a really tender moment. He even like got down on a knee again, and like, yeah, it was weird. He didn't re-propose, but he was just like, I just want to like be friends or whatever. And she was like, that's fine. And then they gave each other a hug. Anyway, they then were fine to everybody watching, and we were like, okay, everything's okay. But apparently, Diamond said Carlton then turned into like Mr. Hyde, and according to DMZ, as soon as the camera stopped rolling, and he like threatened her with a lawsuit and like legal action, and he was just crazy.
For what?
Just, I don't even know. I watched an interview of her saying this, and she really didn't specify, but ultimately she ended up blocking him on social media. But then he bizarrely posted this video of like one of her TikToks of her and he was like, oh, Diamond, you're so beautiful. All I want you to know is how beautiful I think you are, blah, blah, blah. Please unblock me. It's not fair. Please unblock me. I'm so sorry of the way that I reacted. Da, 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 da. Super manipulative, super wild. Anyway, so we can't help but wondered, should you block your ex on social media?
Can you just define one thing? What is it, TikTok?
Okay, so TikTok is
I thought that was
app.
Brody's girlfriend.
Who? No! Oh my god. No, Brody's girlfriend was a girl on TikTok. Oh god.
I thought her name was TikTok.
No, it was some random girl from TikTok. Okay, TikTok, Christina, you're like a dinosaur.
No, I'm
you're
not.
You're like an alien. You're an alien.
I just don't follow this.
TikTok is a new app it's an app.
Oh, it's a dating app.
No, it's not a dating app. It's just an app where like people make videos.
Oh.
And
okay.
And last week we talked about this girl that's Brody Jenner's, like this girl that he's dating, and she's a TikTok celebrity.
Oh,
so that's where you guys probably got the confusion.
I see. Okay, now that clears it up for me.
Yes, the clarification is there. But anyway, so all that aside, like, when should you block your ex on social media? Do you think that that's a smart thing to do? Blocking an ex on social media?
Yeah, I know. That's a very difficult one.
Just for people that are, I think that, like, obviously this is such a wild scenario, and like normal men and women aren't going through this aggression. But I think that when it comes to social media, I think that everybody knows their own, like, you know yourself best. If you find that you are just consistently checking up on an ex on social media, that you're posting in hopes that they will watch your story, or that they'll, in hopes that they'll see whatever content that you are like putting out there, I definitely think it is a good idea to block your ex on social media, just until it's not as, like, until that urge to post and that urge to check to see if they have checked you is like gone, because it will go away. And I think that, like, in the beginning, if a breakup is fresh, I think it's definitely in your best interest to just, like, make your social media a place for you to express yourself and for you to kind of move on without the cloud of their consumption. You shouldn't be thinking of them when you are putting something out there. And this kind of also goes back to how to get over an ex. It's step one is mourn their death. I remember I wrote an article for Elite Daily years ago. I still get messages about it because apparently it was a big game changer for a lot of people. But like, one of the, like, step one to getting over an ex is mourn his death or mourn her death. And you really need to go through those phases of grief. And when you mourn somebody's death, you need to unfollow them on social media, block them. Like, you need to really act as though they died. Like, they just died. And, like, you remember, you know, you want to make sure you're wishing them well, but you're wishing them away. But, like, you need to wish them away because they're dead in your life. Like, they are no longer, like, resurrection. Jesus is the only one that rose from the dead, honey. And your ex, if he's an ex, most likely he's nothing like Jesus, okay?
Yeah.
So I think literally, unless you're dating a Jesus-like figure or an ex is a Jew, then you have to mourn his death and don't prepare for a resurrection. He is not risen. He is not risen, okay?
Oh, it's true. I think that's wise.
So you gotta mourn his death, and I think a big part of that is unplugging and just allowing yourself to not have his cloud of consumption. That's my opinion.
I think it's also right what you said about paying attention to your behavior, and if you are always checking to see if they looked at your stuff, or if you're bothered by seeing a post from him, because some breakups are worse than others, and there are some very toxic people though that you really need to totally cut the cord from. Yeah. And that is
because also those visuals are so powerful.
Right.
Of, like, I remember, I think I've told this story to the podcast listeners already. I remember I had an ex years ago who he was a beautiful man. And I just remember he had very well curated social media content, and I like very much like fell for an image of who he was on social media. Like I remember I would just like look at his Instagram and be like, oh, what an amazing, and like so for that, like unfollowing him was so amazing because it was like, I forgot that you existed, in the words of Taylor Swift, but it's like poof, once I unfollowed, it was like, oh wait, like that was images that I was really like concocting in my brain. Mm-hmm. So I think for me in that situation, it was really important to do that. I also think as you get older, and ladies and gentlemen, the older you get, kind of the thicker your skin gets. So, I don't know, that's kind of what I think. Like, the older you get, it's more when a relationship ends, it's not, I don't know. I mean, it's not quite as horrific as it once was because you're just like, okay, like I'm looking for my husband or I'm looking for my wife, and you almost want it, if it's not right, you want it to not work so you can actually make room for that person to come into your life. So if that's not your attitude, let's embrace that attitude as your new attitude. If a relationship, when you're in the search for your husband or your wife, and if a relationship doesn't work out, don't see it as a bad thing. See it as a positive. It's okay, no worries. Good for you. You do your life. I'm going to do mine. We're not meant for each other. This is just allowing me to now move on and find my person. Yeah.
That's great, Allison.
I just ranted on breakups and social media.
That's good. I like it.
Absolutely. Should we move on to the next? Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are for my little crime junkie, for our crime junkie lovers or like true crime lovers. We have our first COVID-19 murder. So a husband was accused of murdering his wife, pretending that she was on her coronavirus deathbed. And so she was like using her phone and texting her friends, being like, oh, I'm self-quarantined, blah, blah, blah. Really wild story. We can't help but wonder, what are some strategies for quarantining with your significant other? So a farce death does not occur.
Oh, no.
Christina, you're married. You are self-quarantining with Dan.
That's not funny. That's terrible. I pray for her
We blessed
soul.
her. I'm so sorry. I know.
Man's
he's insane. I mean, absolute lunacy.
Yeah.
But Christina, just what are some strategies? So more COVID
couples
quarantining together.
Right. Yes. Let me think. I think that it's important to have your time together, but also be very happy to do things separately and let the man do what he wants to do and spend time doing what you want to do. If it's reading or he wants to play games, that's similar. Alone time with, and not feeling like you always have to be doing things together. That's very important, especially during this time. Getting out of the house, taking a walk, that's also important. Getting in, but also you don't have to really even leave your house to be able to get into a different world. That's what I mean by reading and traveling when
I wish I loved reading.
You like certain books.
I know. I like celebrity tell-all books.
Right, I know.
I really want to read the Jessica Simpson book. Have you heard of it? Oh my gosh, I'm dying to get my hands on it. But then when I go to read a book, I always just am like, oh, this is like, I get so, I don't know.
Have you ever liked any literature? Any stories?
I mean, I don't like things that are like fantasy. Like,
what about, for instance, a Jane Austen kind of romance?
Oh God, Jane Austen. I can't do it.
Well, maybe what about a different? You like
tried.
Lauren Conrad's.
Yeah, I loved because it was an easily understood. Yeah, I love the LA Candy
like something
series
like
because
that?
it was also like based on our lives. So because it's more like when I was younger, I would read those books that of like life that was either attainable. Or, like, I just don't like reading about fantasy. And also, I don't like with
fiction,
Jane Austen.
Is what you mean.
Yeah.
Fiction.
Is that what they call it? No, but I like fiction as long as it's like attainable fiction, or what's the word of like it's when it's aspirational fiction. I like aspirational fiction. I don't like something that's going to bring me down, that's going to depress me. Yeah.
Well, everyone likes different books. Kinds of books. That's why not everyone's an English professor. That's important.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the same likes.
Yeah.
But I will say that's an option.
Yes,
going in a room, exercising, doing a workout, listening to music, dancing away. That's having your separate time is important. But then also having times when you come together and can do fun things, like go through what I had recommended. Alessandra's going to be writing an article about things that you can do on a date for quarantines.
Yeah, quarantine dates.
And
virtual quarantine dates.
Right, virtual quarantine dates. And one of them is, which I haven't done yet, but I want to do, is to look through photos of when I was living in Rome or traveling, and I haven't shown them, if I haven't shown them to Dan yet, and go through them and tell him where we were, because you can't travel right now, but you can travel in your photos and show. That's something to do for fun.
So alone time, that is like non-shamed alone time.
Right.
Together time, that's more structured together time.
Right.
I think a big thing I think with couples is that sometimes they feel like they have to be like, just on top of each other.
Right, and listening to each and answering questions at any moment. Prayer time is really important.
Taking meditation time.
I heard about this. St. Pope John Paul II, actually, in the mornings, every morning, if he was living with someone, would just say, the first 3 hours, I just don't talk to anyone, I'm praying. And you might do that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
There's some people who, I'm going to do that from when in certain situations, but I need to.
I remember I just don't like talking to anybody when I wake up.
It's true.
And my poor college roommate, Yuko, bless her heart, she was Japanese, she spoke a little bit of English, but I remember when I would wake up, I just told her, because I had gotten this like vocal cord surgery thing, and I told her that I wasn't supposed to talk in the morning, and that was a lie. Like, I could talk in the morning, I just didn't want to. I just hated talking in the morning.
And that's okay.
Oh, I'm an evil person.
No, but you shouldn't feel shame. We do feel ashamed to say, you know what, I need my prayer time, or I need my alone time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Pay attention to me. Don't pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Don't pay attention to me. Eileen Davidson, that's for my housewife lovers. That's a nice little quote. Okay, I love that. So just like structured time as well. Like, I think just structured date nights. We've talked about this before, but also like structuring out those date nights, which is another article altogether, because I'm working on virtual dates, and then I'm working on like couples dates that you can do when you're quarantining. It's because a lot of couples are in different stages. So, and we cater mostly as matchmakers to those who are like just starting to date, which would most likely be virtual dates, because you're not supposed to be like going over each other's houses for multiple reasons, but obviously because of coronavirus. But yeah, so I think that, when you are in a couple or if you guys are quarantining together, you can even tell your partner like, okay, listen, we're going to do like every other night, we're going to have like, I'm going to plan a date, and then you're
every other night?
Yeah, just like
of the
week,
plan, or just every other date.
Well, every other date
every other night is way too much.
And, well, I guess if you're living together, it's one thing, but like if you're not living together, if you're just like maybe,
I think that's way too much for couples.
Okay, every other date.
Okay,
every other date. It is something that the girl plans and then the guy plans.
Okay, great.
So, like, you can then be super creative. And, like, even if your guy isn't the creative type, like, it's okay, because you will be, like, you'll have your dates that you're helping planning and all of that. Mm-hmm. So anyway, okay, great. So blah, blah, blah. You totally disagree with me the every other night thing, but it's totally fine.
It's okay.
I'm just trying to keep you unmurdered by Dan, so just don't mind
I think
me
if we had to do dates every night,
I guess that's a lot. Much. Yeah, that's a lot. I guess. You're married.
When you're married, you just love being together too.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's not something to fear. fear when if you feel like you're dating and oh no, but don't fear it. You'll love being together. Of course, it's sometimes, and especially in quarantine, it's a lot, but you just make ways around it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so there is, speaking of Netflix, another new Netflix show, but this is fascinating. There's a new Netflix show called Too Hot to Handle, coming out April 17th, where they cast a bunch of gorgeous men and women, and the catch is that they can't be physical with each other at all. So, like, they can all win a certain amount of money, but every time that, like, somebody kisses or does anything more than that, they lose thousands of dollars in the prize money. And these, like, the people that they cast are absolutely beautiful. For my America's Next Top Model, like, stans, one of the guys in, like, he has long hair, I forgot his name, he was on America's Next Top Model a few seasons ago. So I found it fascinating because so in the mornings when I get ready, I always have a show on, and for the past, like, year and a half, I've been watching every single season of America's Next Top Model just as I'm doing my hair and my makeup. It was wonderful. I'm now trying to find a new show that I can put on behind, like, as I'm doing my hair and makeup, because it's a struggle. Like, I love, like, makeover shows, and I was doing Australia's Next Top Model, but, like, it just wasn't as fulfilling for me because Tyra Banks isn't involved, and Tyra is everything. But anyway, so this guy, he's a part of it, and I remember he was bisexual, so that should be very interesting. But there were also, or I don't know if he was exact, he was I don't know, it was questionable, but I think it will be fascinating. And yeah, so there are just a lot of, they cast beautiful, beautiful men, beautiful women. So we can't help but wonder, has Matchmakers in the City been right all along? Is waiting to have sex as long as possible a surefire way to build a strong relationship foundation?
Yes, I mean, I agree with what our company teaches people.
Were we right? Have we been right for the past 8, almost 9 years?
Yes, I mean, from our successes too. It's a really important part of a relationship. In terms of this season, this series, I guess. When is that ban lifted? Until the
until the end. You have to win. Yeah.
Okay, and they don't have to be engaged or anything.
I mean, I think it's more just, I think it's, no. I think for the viewers and for the listeners, I think that our rule at Matchmakers in the City is waiting to have sex until you're in an exclusive relationship. At the minimum. Yes. So that's, like, our official rule. And then obviously at the minimum, because I remember we once had a client who went off on me. She was a Christian woman, and what a nightmare she was. I'm sorry, but we usually work with amazing people, but you get the occasional nutcase. Anyway, so I explained to her, I said, at the minimum, if you're waiting for longer, that's beautiful, but she went off on me saying, how dare you make me have sex with somebody when I'm in a relationship with them. I'm like, in what world? I have never, ever said that. Right. But anyway, so yeah, that's our rule, and at the minimum. But waiting is so beautiful because you get to know the person so much better, and it's not about the physical, and it's so much more about who that person is, and yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about this a lot, but I think it's something worth talking about because it's very countercultural, especially in the app world days.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just fluffing don't you love my outfit, Christina?
Yes, I was going to remark it's so different. We both look,
I know,
like we're on different shows today. I look like more of a British royalty.
Yeah.
And you're more of the young Hollywood.
Young Cockney role. Your British Cockney girl.
It's funny. But actually, stay tuned for our last segment because we'll talk a little bit more about this, our sisterly advice segment. A young woman asks a question about this.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, our next segment.
Gone Girl.
No.
Oh no, I always do this. I always forget about hashtag Netflix in quarantine.
Yes, the Conti COVID classics. Christina, what's your suggestion for this week?
This one I've been wanting to say for a while. It's called Faith, Hope, and Love.
Oh, and yes, you keep telling me to watch that.
It's
on Netflix?
Yes, it's a Netflix. Mm-hmm. I think it should still. I watched it about a month or two ago, so I hope it's still on there. But it's the combination of funny dance competition with a man and a ballroom dancing competition. It's called the Pros and Schmoes dance competition because it's a professional person with someone who doesn't know anything about ballroom dancing.
It's like the show.
And it has a high school reunion, and it also has a faith component to it. It's hilarious. Gosh. So I would say definitely if you want to laugh a little bit during this time, that's a great one to watch.
Wait, I love high school reunions so much. Christina.
A lot of the Netflix movies that are a little more on the made by Netflix ones, they all
have high school reunions. I love them.
That and their recipe.
They're hearing my soul. I went to mine last year? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, I think it may have been the year before.
Oh my gosh, was it the year before?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I went to mine. It was magical, and I love you all. Christina, you didn't go to yours.
No, I didn't. Sorry, people.
I loved mine. I love mine.
I live kind of far from there, so.
Yeah, so do I. But I made it happen because it was a priority. It should be a priority, but it's okay. It is what it is.
Not everyone has the same experiences in high school. So
yeah, that's different. That's true. That's true. But here I thought the yearbooks just made me show like here I thought I was so popular in high school, but like I look at our yearbooks and like I was so slammed in the yearbooks. Like they did me so dirty. There are like several large photos of me with like horrific, just like traumatizing facial expressions.
We told them about the Young Politicians Club one.
It's me and just so crazy.
It's also how could you not choose that?
No, I get it. I'm not
harsh on the yearbooks.
Yearbook committee, it's fine. I forgive you. All is forgotten.
You have a very expressive face.
That I do. I will give it that. Okay, so my suggestion. It's amazing. 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days.
Oh, there's
you
another.
Guys.
Wow.
I can't even. Oh my gosh. It is. I binge watched like 3 episodes yesterday just as I was doing my life. And there is a Nigerian celebrity who is like, basically the whole premise is that it's basically following the stories of all these people who are who basically meet somebody online, a totally unverified person online. They then fall in love online, and the whole premise of the show is following their journey to meeting this person that they met online, in person. So it follows a number of different couples. My favorite couple, the Nigerian celebrity who's like 25, and this like 50-something-year-old woman. Ooh. And it's just so classic. It's so classic. I can't even. And then there's another one with this 50-something-year-old guy who goes to the Philippines and meets this 23 or 24-year-old young woman. And it's so cringeworthy and beautiful, and he's such a precious gem of a man. Like, I love him. You love all of them, and you really feel for them. And then there's this dating coach that is just horrible and does not exemplify, what is it? He doesn't represent our industry in any way, but he then meets this American girl. He's in Australia. He's in Melbourne, where I was supposed to go for a wedding, but obviously it got nicked. So you guys, go to TLC.com, 90 Day Fiancé, before the 90 days, I promise you will not be disappointed. It will help your quarantine go a whole lot faster.
Fantastic. So now let's move on to Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
As sisters, we have our fair share of disagreements.
That's for sure.
Every day we date coach men and women who don't know whether they should stay in a relationship or move on. In Gone Girl, we debate different hot relationship trigger topics. Great. So first scenario, she put you down in front of the group. Gone Girl or it's just a girl thing?
Ooh. Christina, go for it.
Oh, I
go for it.
No, that's just really, I guess, it's like injuring an animal, a small animal. Don't do that, people, please. Even if it's a man putting down a woman in front of a group or a woman putting down a man in front of the group. And I think it's a little more socially acceptable for the women to do it because it's just different. And you think, oh, he can stand up for himself, that's fine.
Or maybe it's like a jokey type
it's a joke
thing, but it's like slicing them down.
Right, and you know what, there are some funny things where you want to just joke around, but there's a line.
A lot of people don't know the line.
It's true.
A lot of people don't know the line.
That's true.
It's a very fine line.
Right.
And men are so sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if you don't know if it's going to be appropriate, just don't say it. That's what I would. Is what I would say. And as a man, if you're debating whether you should stay with this woman, I would definitely talk to her about it and tell. Unless you're mortified and just could never be with someone who, if it depends on the level of what she's put you down on. If it was saying, oh yeah, he ate all the popcorn at the movies.
Yeah, like that's fine. That's funny and not like attacking his manhood.
Right. But saying you'll know that line, and if you the man will know.
Yeah, the man
will know.
The man sure does.
I'm just saying more of the man.
I think like steering away from anything to do with financial, sexual.
Oh gosh.
If you're putting him down in any way, financially, sexually,
job-wise,
providing-wise,
provider-wise, being lazy or something, that would be terrible. Just no.
Yeah, like you can joke about like funny things, but no, Gone Girl or it's a girl thing, Christina. Right. What's your final say?
It's based on what the thing is, and I would definitely, if you're in a relationship, have a conversation with things that are okay to joke about with people and things that are really personal to you.
Mm-hmm. Like if you just got into a fight about something and now you're bringing it up,
airing
totally.
The dirty laundry.
If it is anything that triggered something in private, do not bring it up in public thinking, oh, it's funny. It's not funny.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Nobody's laughing. We've all been there when in that uncomfortable moment when a woman is calling out a guy and it is just the most cringe, it's nails on a chalkboard. And it must be a girl thing because it does happen very frequently. But I definitely think that if something like that does happen, talk to her, in private, be like, listen, sweetie, I love you, but no, none of that is gonna, I can't have that happen again. If there's something you want to talk to me about, let's talk about it in private, let's get over it in private and never bring it up in public. And you need to lead by example as well. So as the man, don't be putting her down in public either. Anything about weight, anything about appearance, anything about, you had that extra cookie or something like that. That's not funny. Nobody's laughing.
I'm just laughing because it's such an awful thing to say.
It's terrible, but it happens. So, just be sensitive. Err on the side of oversensitivity.
Yeah, I think that's good. And as Katie one of my friends has always said she wants to be in someone's corner. So with her husband, she wanted a man who was in her corner and not someone who was putting her down. And she does the same thing for him.
I love that. I like that a lot.
Great. Now, next scenario, she seems overly concerned about how much money you make. Gone Girl or it's a girl thing? Ooh.
It's a girl thing, honey. I'm just kidding.
And this, as we were talking a little bit about this before, and this could also include status, where the guy went to college, asking really prying questions about more superficial things. However, a woman wants a provider. Most women want a provider. They want a man who they can depend on, and men have that instinct, provider instinct in them. They want to be able to provide. Some women have bigger qualifications than others, though. And if you're, doing a great job, you have a good career, and you're a hard worker, that's amazing. And that, for most women, that will be perfect. But there are some women who will pry and will ask you very specific questions that it might be a little much.
Yeah. I mean, she seems overly concerned about how much money you make. Okay. So, just so men know, it is a girl thing that, as a woman, and anyone that we're working with, we always say, like, we work with men who are at a great place financially.
Right, exactly.
They're on the spectrum of, like, great place financially to, like, multi-bajillionaire.
Right.
But they need to be at a place where they're stable. They have, if they're not at that point in their careers, like, there's a way to get there.
Right. We're talking about the men.
Yeah, the men who we matchmake, who we're
right.
working with at Matchmakers in the city, that we feel comfortable setting up with the women that we're working with as well.
Yes.
So, that said, there definitely, I think it is a bit of a red flag if a woman is super, like, overly concerned about, about
salary numbers, making sure you have to make more than she does.
Yeah, we've had women come in being like, I need a man who's making over, $1 million a year, and like,
it has to be more than me. A big,
and they're making
6-figure salary, a big one,
big 6 figures.
That's not one of her deal breakers.
Yeah, I think that, as women, of course, you want to be with a man who has a wonderful career, who is in a great place financially, because if a guy, I always say that men are like houses, and the foundation is career for a man. And if the foundation is not built, or if it's like really just like half in and it's like, oh, what is really going on? Then the guy can't even start to think about relationship. So if his career isn't at a stable, great place, he can't even start to think about what a relationship, like a serious, committed, lifelong relationship will look like. Ideally, anyway, because there are some people who get into relationships very young.
Yeah, exactly. It's different when.
But I'm talking about if you're single, if you're in your 20s or 30s,
and 40s,
or in 40s,
and 60s.
And if you're working with a matchmaker, or if you're dating on your own, like, these are just things that you should know as you're going about your dating life. So if you're already married, good for you, bless your heart, you found your soulmate in high school, good for you. But a lot of the people we work with don't. So that foundation has to be there. But definitely, I think it is, we've heard men say it's a huge turnoff if a woman then will, like, I remember we had a client who would go on a date and she would just talk about all the 5-star vacations she would go on, the hotels she would stay at. She would kind of pry into, like, where they stay and, like, what, do you vacation in Aspen, and, like, just, like, kind of bougie and a little douchey. And so, yeah, that's
something
definitely,
to pay attention to.
Pay attention to that. It's a girl thing in that a woman wants to be with a man who has a good career and is going places.
If she might want to move into a house when you get married. Those specifics are not a bad thing to ask as you've
as you guys are dating.
But if you're so concerned that he won't be able to fund your monthly Hawaii trips, that's, as a man, you need to look into that.
Yeah, or the Chanel bags, or then that's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue.
Unless you don't mind and you're willing to that's fine with you, and you're willing to just fund that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Then
hey, give us a call. We have plenty. No. Anyway,
The next
final scenario.
She posts about politics on Facebook. Gone girl or it's a girl thing? That's an interesting one.
I say gone girl. Oh my goodness. What a pet peeve of mine. But I guess also, like, there are certain women who post and I'm like, yes, honey, because I agree with them. But the majority of things that are posted on Facebook, it's such a chore. I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, what is going on? So like a guy goes on and I guess I would say gone girl if a man's just constantly posting about, it's just so uncomfortable.
Unless it's his career and he's a politician or something like that, and that's part of his lifestyle. But I understand there's some just trollers out there.
I know.
Who just post about every political opinion of theirs. And
some of them are well-meaning, like mothers or, like, older people who don't realize that anything you post on Facebook is, like, for everybody to see. But, yeah, I guess it's also your personal preference. You may love politics.
It's true.
You might
a woman who's very active. But there are some women who do post just in reaction to what someone else has posted, and they just give their take on it. So I don't think that's as bad as being always
like super political,
posting things on that. I don't know though. It depends.
I just don't think that Facebook or social media is a place for politics. Like,
tell all the celebrities that. Please tell all the celebrities that.
Everybody uses it.
Celebrities
Everybody uses it. But like, so many people are just so political on Facebook. I don't care. Just show me your baby. Show me your wedding photos. I want to see your engagement ring. Like, show me the outfit that you wore out. Or talk to me about your quarantine habits. And like, show me fun quotes.
Understood.
I just want social.
Happy place.
I don't want to hear about your
Twitter
presidential candidate.
Right. No.
I could care less.
Twitter's a little more political.
Just let me have my Facebook. Let me know what you guys are up to socially.
Okay.
Not politically.
So let's move on to sisterly advice.
Yes.
Every week we answer a listener's burning question, and every week we give her advice that only your sister would give you. Hi girls, I feel like every guy who I'm meeting on the apps just wants to hook up with me. What do I do? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel and what is this one?
Over F-boys.
Oh, yes, good.
And you should be over F-boys. Yes. That was 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, and I think also a lot of women...
Especially in times of quarantine right now, a lot of guys are being super shady. Ooh. I've been getting so many DMs from women. You guys, like, men, please, just step up your game a little bit.
Some are not ready, Alessandra. At least they're being clear.
Yeah, they're being clear. It's a blessing. It's so true. If a guy is like super
clear.
Sorry, what were you saying?
And for their own lives, they really need to get their act together.
Yeah.
But as I'm preaching to the choir, because the men who listen here are
angels.
Yeah, are wonderful.
Our male listeners are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And our male clients are wonderful too, because they actually want relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There are men out there who actually want relationships.
Right, and that's where you want to shift your sights to. As Einstein says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. If you're finding that this is happening over and over to you, it's time to switch where you're going. Mm-hmm. For instance, if there's a college student, I know as a college student, when I used to be a college student, it would feel like that too. And I was going to the same frats all the time. And I realized, okay, I need to switch up what I'm doing because this is clearly not yielding the relationship that I want. Okay, so for apps, if this is what it's yielding for you, we need to switch it up because we want you to be meeting men who are actually looking for relationships. And there are so many amazing men out there who actually are. It's hard to find a woman like you. Believe us. Believe us. So many women. We have thousands of people who we work with. We've talked to maybe almost a million at this point. Who knows?
I don't know.
But we've talked to so many people.
We've talked to a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's hard to find people who really are at that place. You are a gem, and you're also looking for a gem and a diamond, and both of you are diamonds in the rough. So you want to switch it up. That's my advice.
Aladdin. a diamond in the rough. Sorry, that is from Aladdin. As you know, clearly I've watched it many times. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that exactly changing up where you're going, and this even in times of quarantine, like online dating and apps is not your only option.
Exactly.
Every organization is doing something virtual related. So even like I'm a part of Ivy, like I'm a part of that list, and I get that I get the emails all the time. They're doing like a virtual masterclass where they're inviting like all their members, and they're doing like it's just I forget exactly what it is, but like it's a virtual Zoom that they're doing, and it's inviting all of their members to do it. All of these other organizations, like a lot of YJP, like the Young Jewish Professionals events, they're doing a lot of different things online to build community building, talk about spirituality, talk about religion, talk about all of that. So going on those online platforms, in addition, I mean, I know that the churches are doing tons of stuff online as well. So there are a lot of different ways that you can still put yourself out there, and you have to maneuver in a different way, because exactly what Christina said, it is the likelihood of meeting a really good person on an app is really low. Like you need to date hundreds of people to get to one good one, or you need to be really, really lucky. So definitely change things up, use your communities, and if you don't have communities, you have to be a seeker right now, and find virtual communities that you can join into. Obviously, if you're in a financial place to do so.
And not even, it's just joining our database.
Yeah, our database is only $100. So even if you're not in like a
if you want to do just being a priority membership, then
you have to be in a financial place to do it.
But if you want to be in the database, that's $100.
It's $100 to be a part of our database. We're still matchmaking so many of our clients.
Yes.
Here we thought, we'll be like a nice little break. Yeah, right. We're busier than ever. Yeah. So definitely sign up for Matchmakers in the City to be a part of our database, or to be a client. Like definitely, I mean, if you're at that place where you're just exhausted and you've done everything and you're just exasperated, no, this is not an ad, but this is literally what we do every day of our lives for the past almost 9 years.
Right.
Working with a matchmaker is such an amazing way. You'll meet people who want to be in relationships, who are serious about finding love. Even if it's not with you, at least you'll know, you know? So, you know what I mean? Like they're pretty, straightforward. Right. And we vet them, interview, background check, social media check, sex offender search. So all you have to do is like go on the virtual date and meet them. And we've been setting up a lot. We have like 3 or 4 going on Thursday, and just this weekend a lot. So, but yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't look for men in their 20s who want to settle down. The likelihood that that's going to happen is very low. Look for men in their 30s. That is a lot higher likelihood for them to actually want a relationship. A lot of guys in their 20s, they're super young, especially if you're in LA, New York, San Fran, or DC, unless they're super connected to a faith or a community group or something like that. But the majority of men in their 20s are not looking for anything serious. So look for men in their 30s. You want to look for somebody who has a great career, a good stable job, like we were talking about before. And yeah, I mean, and also the best way to find out if a guy just wants to have sex with you is to not have sex with him.
Yep.
That is the best way to find out, because
exactly, and that
he will leave so fast.
Our first segment where we're talking about this.
Yes.
And we've come full circle. Thank you so much for listening. We are so happy that we get to talk to you.
Yes.
And feel free to subscribe below. We'd love to have you not miss a thing. We're going to be posting a lot more videos coming up soon, and we don't want you to miss it. So
yes, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy. We're sending you the biggest virtual hug. And yeah, we'll talk to you